Welcome to Stalking the Wild Autoharp. This is Improvisation Part 2. I promised you another video in the improvisation series, and today I'm taking a few minutes before things get noisy back in the shop and talking about improvisation. And what I really need to do is go back and look at the last video I did so that I can cover some new ground with it here today. But I believe in that video I talked a little bit about structure. And the structure of your improv is what gives it, it's sort of like a harness so that it doesn't just drift in a million different directions and kind of turn into mush. And a structure, it can be lots of different things. A structure can be the scale that you choose. Now, what I just did there was a harmonic minor using A minor, E7, and D minor. That's it. And I sort of repeated the same tune approximately as I could remember it, because I did it once and then I had to do it again and I didn't quite exactly remember what I did the first time, so I faked it. And improvisation comes out of this whole hum a few bars and I'll try to fake it kind of thing. As I'm doing now when I'm talking to you, this is totally impromptu and off the cuff, and just kind of making it up as I go along. But I know that I want to talk about different scales. So that's the way the harmonic minor sounds. And again, A minor, E7, and D minor will give you that. Or if you take that pattern, which on my harp looks like this, and this is a big awkward stretch that you're not even going to find on a diatonic auto harp. A minor, E7, and D minor. Now you could take that whole thing and you could shift it up one and do the same thing on D minor, A7, and G minor. It would sound like this. Now there's another scale, it's an older minor scale that uses three together. Just like, you know, when you play in a major key, you use three together. You use a 1, 4, and 5, 7. Well, this is 1, 4, and 5, 7 also, just in the minor key. And the pattern is the same. You've got your 1 chord in the middle, and then your 5 chord. And then your 4 chord. And you can hear both of those things that I've played now are minor key tunes, but they have a very different flavor. That's because this one is an older mode. And I'm not going to get into the names of the modes and the structure of the modes here. That's music theory. That's another video entirely. All I want to do is show that there's a pattern of buttons. And if you stick to the pattern of buttons, you get a pleasing result in your tune. And if you go outside that pattern of buttons, you better be ready to what I would call justify. In other words, make it right. If it comes out weird, like let me do something. I'm going to go back to my original harmonic minor, and I'm going to go outside, and it's going to be weird. Now that was weird, and it didn't quite sound right, but if I do it again, it sounds like I did it on purpose. So if you make a mistake in your improv and you do something weird, a real good way to fake yourself out and fake your listener out is do it again. because that makes it on purpose. And then start playing with that and see if you can find a way to make it right. Some things are more wrong and some things aren't. You will learn that. But this is what happens when you step outside the box of your scale. Now, scale is not the only thing. There's also structure. What I played was the A part of an improvisation. And I believe it went. So I'm doing A minor, E7, B7, A minor, now to the D minor, A minor, E7, and back to the A minor. That's all the A part. Now, in order to root that as the A part, I did it again. But I never went to the B part because I needed to start talking. But if I wanted to go to a B part, I might throw in a new chord or something to give it a new flavor. And then something like, and then I do it again. In this case, I'm using C and G. You'll notice how close those two buttons are in proximity to the A minor. When you've got a button that is very close to another button, very likely it's going to sound okay in your chord pattern. But see, I didn't go to it until I got to my B part. Then it's like, oh, hello, new thing. So then I repeat. And then I go back and I do my A part again. And I have my own little tune. By the way, if you're going to improvise, record it. Don't stop the recording every time you mess up or you're not satisfied. Just keep going. Record it all and then listen to it, because you might just capture something that becomes your own original composition. If you can recreate it, you might capture something really brilliant. Okay, so we've covered scales, and there's lots of other scales, and I can show you some of them probably in another video. I'll show you another one. Chord structure. To delineate the parts, make an A part, make a B part, make the A part come back. Or another thing called rondo form, make an A part and then do something a little bit like adventuresome and go off, and then bring your A part back and then go off again, and then bring your A part again and then go off again. Okay, as long as you have a structure with an island of familiarity in the middle of it, you'll have that structure. Okay, third thing I want to mention is what's called sequence. Sequence is a pattern in the notes that repeats. La 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 la. I'm singing it terrible. And then I repeat it, but I started on the other chord. Kind of messed it up there, but it's a repeating pattern. La 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 la, and then it might turn upside down. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Okay, so it's in that case that's a there's a rhythmic thing. Ta 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 ta. Ta 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 ta. See, I've got that rhythmic thing going, which repeats. You might have, I think, I might do something like. I think This is something like I improvised on in the last video. It's a 3-note thing. Ta ta ta, dun dun dun, dun dun dun, dun dun. Turn it upside down. Try it backwards. That's called sequence. And sequence can be a long section or it can be a short section. Start with short sections in your improv. So we've covered now scales, or at least stay within your scale. We haven't really talked about all the different scales there are, but stay within a scale. And we've talked about harmonic structure and bringing in a second part and then going back to your first part. And then we talked about sequence and sequence patterns, which is just a short snippet, which is like the motive or the theme of the improv. All of these are little islands of familiarity within your improv, and they will give your improv some structure. So try these things. I'll be back next time to talk about some other scales that you might try. You probably know some of them already. Okay, until then, I'm Hal with Stalking the Wild Autoharp. Remember, you can work with me individually on lessons through Skype. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being patrons. For those of you who are supporting this program, if you would like to support this program, you can go over to patreon.com. You can kick down a few bucks a month and support this program to keep it going. And until then, I'm Hal Weeks, and we'll see you next time on Stalking the Wild Autoharp.